Consumer spending rose 0.6 of a percentage point in January after falling for a record 6 straight months, mostly because of purchases of non-durable goods. The increase is expected to be short-lived given the continuing recession. Personal savings surged 5%, the highest level since 1995. Meanwhile, construction spending dropped 3.3%. That's twice as much as expected. U.S. deficits will keep growing for some time as the president's budget makes clear, and the interest on the trillions is going to add up fast. Just the interest. As Chief Washington correspondent Jim Engel reports, it's a little like a supersized credit card debt.
President Obama's spending plans look expensive, trillions of dollars in borrowed money, but one thing's often overlooked. Borrowed money must be paid back, and with interest.
I've calculated that the Obama deficits, which are in this year's budget proposal, could mean as much as $1.6 trillion in additional interest on the national debt over the next 10 years.
And that's just what Mr. Obama added to this year's deficit for the stimulus and other programs. Republican Senator Richard Burr added it up for coming years, and the bottom line is breathtaking.
We're talking about $4 trillion over the next 10 years. More than $1 billion of interest payments every day.
Senator Burr said taxpayers should think of it like they do the finance charge on their monthly credit card bill.
You have to pay it, but you get nothing for it in return. This finance charge obligates more than $52,000 for every family in America over the same 10-year period.
In fact, Senator Burr's numbers were conservative. Mr. Obama's own budget actually shows even higher interest payments. Even if the president gets all the tax increases he wants, which even some Democrats doubt, the net interest payments would be more than $4.5 trillion in the next 10 years. And analysts say that much deficit spending will eventually mean even more tax increases.
$1 of spending by the government equals $1 of taxation by the government. It can be $1 of taxation today, or it can be $1 of taxation in the future.
But since Americans don't save enough to cover that, we have to get it from elsewhere.
So we're having to borrow more and more and more from abroad, which can have some pretty significant economic implications down the road.
We've been borrowing more than half that money overseas, often from China, Japan, or the OPEC nations. But China and Japan have their own economic problems now, and with oil prices less than a third their recent peak, OPEC isn't awash in cash either.
Well, there's something called supply and demand.
So they all have less to loan, just as we need to borrow trillions and trillions more. And that means interest rates are sure to go up.
And if that happens at a time that our deficit levels are skyrocketing, then watch out.
In fact, interest rates are at 0.2% this year, but the budget shows them leaping to 8 times that, or 1.6% next year, then more than doubling to about 4%. By then, we'll be spending $400 to $600 billion a year just in interest, money, Brett, that cannot be spent on other programs.
It is quite a credit card debt.
I'll say.
All right, Jim, thanks.